So today we're going to be playing a fan-made dating sim for Overwatch. It's called Symmetra's Qualifying Matches, and it's set in Overwatch universe. I've played it before. I think I chose Farah for my love interest. But there's 3 different plot lines, and there's a lot of side stories, and it's really, really fun. So let's get started. I like how the font is like the same as it is in the game. That's a nice detail. So as you can see, who your dating people are, because they're all in color, everyone else is purple. So you've got Farah, Sombra, and Jungle. That's me. Let's go ahead and start. As you board the transport parked in the helipad, you feel your stomach knot in anticipation. Today's the day as you participate in the first of your qualifying matches under the recently reinstated Overwatch program. Over the next 10 weeks, these matches will determine your placement within the program's competitive hierarchy by testing your combat skills. I appreciate the slight breaking of the fourth wall, and specifically the way the backgrounds and the art looks. It's very soft, it's very nice, a big difference compared to the game. Originally developed as an international military task force to deal with the robot wars of the Omelette Crisis, Overwatch was disbanded several years ago at the behest of the UN. However, some of their former agents, namely a hyper-intelligent talking gorilla and a time-traveling lesbian, apt description, have taken it upon themselves to revive the program. After regaining UN approval with the help of a new sponsor, they've begun recruiting new and former members back to its ranks. So, I do like in the background you can see that, there's a lot of detail on the computer screens, and I don't know about the artist here, but drawing animal faces can be very different if you're drawing, human faces. And I like the way the focus is on Winston's back. I'm admitting it freely that I'm going to be gushing about this art style. While you can't imagine what your employer, the Vishkar Corporation, is going to gain from your participation in such an operation, it's not your place to question their orders. From the intel they gathered, it seems Overwatch agents' missions largely consist of attempting and mostly failing to escort payloads. Vishkar strategists have advised you to focus on maintaining direct contact with the payload in your quality endeavors. I really do like the way that the way we're looking at her changes. We're looking at her from above, and for the most part, games are pretty simple. You look directly, the character's usually on one part of the screen and they're not really moving, and maybe their faces change. So I appreciate that much. It's just a good amount of quality from a fan-made game. This wasn't a professional artist. Also, the way the lighting comes off her pad. I'm not an artist, but I'm aware that is difficult to achieve, especially when you're dealing with darker skin tones. If you don't know how to blend the two, it doesn't always turn out great. So I do appreciate that. However, your superiors have also indicated that gaining intel on the project as a whole is equally important, part of your mission to this, and it has suggested you to get to know some of your teammates. While you personally feel it is important to maintain Vishkar's worldwide reputation for exemplary performance, it is in your matches how you prioritize this up to you. In the background, you can see just how many characters, there's details. You can see Reaper and his 2 boxes of guns. I thought this was Sigma in the back, but it's not. This came out before Sigma. You have McCree behind Gabe here, and on the side you got Junkrat and Lucio talking to each other, shaking hands. It just shows, it's a nice way to show how they're portraying these characters in this game, because this is definitely this is a fan-made fantasy essentially. They don't have to be in character here. Week 1, Route 66, United States. While the undulating canyons of the American landscape you viewed from the transport were quite beautiful, the dilapidated diner it ultimately deposited you in front of did not quite have the grandeur you had imagined the staging ground for a large international organization.
Traveling to Route 66.
That's probably partially based on my college campus having really bad Wi-Fi, so I'm not going to blame the game for loading slow. The dirty, dimly lit interior did little to assuage your doubts about the legitimacy of the program, and you began to wonder just what you had gotten yourself into. I do appreciate these SAT words. Assuage. Ooh, you're smart. And the grammar is great, which I appreciate. As you survey the questionable menu options and strange assortment of posters adorning the walls, you are approached by a pair of your teammates. Oh, there it is. I spoke too soon. A pair of you teammates. Howdy. You're that Symmetra gal joining Overwatch from Vishkar, aren't you? What sort of y'all have with Overwatch? I'm sorry, I'm from Georgia. I should know how to have a southern accent, but I really don't. If you notice, he's drinking a whole pot of coffee there. You need half a gallon to start your day, obviously. It's very necessary. I do not know. Vishkar's motivations are not for me to reveal, or my conjecture is that Vishkar wants data on you Overwatch anarchists. I think I'll choose the bottom one just because I like being safe. Your operations present a great risk to our developments. Overwatch has always been an unpredictable, anarchic, destabilizing force in the world. The irresponsible development cannot go unwatched, especially with former Overwatch agents like you and Gabriel Reyes. Reaper. Excuse me. It's Reaper. He prefers to go by Reaper. He sure does. I see. Well, both of you have a history with Reyes, and seemingly a complicated one. What could possibly make you to engage in this sort of activity together? Well, after the match, people upvote you if you do well. You see, the best reason to support these matches is for the compliments, which is kind of cheeky, you know, a little fourth wall breaking there, because that is a reason to play. You feel good, people telling you that, oh, you played well, you were a great medic, I liked your Mercy playing. So, I do appreciate that. And if you look at his belt buckle, it says gay. Do you see that? It's not BAMF. He's gay. Which close enough, I guess. Personally, I enjoy the thrill of saying it's high noon and shooting a bunch of Technicolor weirdos. Well, that and being my boyfriend's payload. Or the payload with my boyfriend. Yeah, that's what you meant, definitely. You can see Anna's face, she's judging him with it. Jesse, I swear. Yeah, Anna, I agree. You engage in death sport where you revive from dead dozens of times for compliments and for dating purposes. That's death comes. That's my Reaper voice right there. I'm really good at being Reaper, right? Oh, merciful Myrte, what is this crap? I bet it was sitting out for a while. I don't trust that diner coffee. Also, I appreciate the expressions and the way that the characters move. Like, generally they're very static, and in this game they're not. They're very mobile. They just change a lot. It doesn't feel like you're playing something that's put together in 10 minutes. So I very much appreciate that, as well as how for Reaper they capitalizes words. It's a bit of a difference, you know, so that's my part. I told you, Oleg couldn't help himself. This coffee's terrible. Anna, I'm taking command of this unit. Where is Roadhog? Just gotta love that capitalization. It doesn't annoy the guys at all. Oh, Mako? Mako's having some calm meditation. Why is he not getting pumped? His nails, though, his claws. Gabriel, not everyone gets ready for a mission by shooting plates and cutlery. And defacing public property. Because that's what we do when we're getting pumped. Yes, of course. Anna looks so dumb with them. Now for strategy, Symmetra and I will convert the payload and turrets, and Roadhog will pull them in. Anna, you and I will perform the Nano Blossom. Nano Blossom. I don't think I've ever actually played with someone who's done that, which seems kind of weird. But generally, they give it to a Genji. What is a Nano Blossom? It's just a modified version of your ultimate ability, or be quiet. Well, I've played, so I know. So let's go ahead and do... Is this a modified version? It's a good enough choice. I have heard of this so-called Death Blossom. You supposedly just spin around shooting people with your gun from each gun and discarding them after each move. Why would a Blackwatch agent such as yourself utilize such a crude and frankly bizarre method of attack? I don't know what they taught you at Vishkar, but the Death Blossom is my art, my passion, my speed at guns, a speed powered by death itself, allows me to paint my art on the battlefield. And yet the last time you tried it, you let Lucio blast dubstep on you, shooting you straight into a pit. Shape girl, Symmetra, Gabriel. Don't be rude. Right. It'll be your job to ensure Lucio does not come close to me. Make sure he drops the threat his buddy makes, and you drop him straight into hell. Which, long thing there, but a great threat. I'll give it that. So our choices are, yes, he is directly opposed many Vishkar developments. I agree. Lucio presents himself as a high priority target. Your grudges aside. Or mobility is not my strong suit. Pursuing such a mobile target is a folly. I think I'll choose the second one. Or, nah. Yeah, I'll go ahead. Second one. Just because why not? My grudges are critical. Revenge will be had. Now, I have to go listen to some music before the match begins. So, I'm able to go talk to different people here, but for the sake of time, I'm going to go ahead and skip right to our first datey talk part. Here I basically I had a talk to the Roadhog, and now my choices are to converse with other teammates, prepare for the attack. Preparing for the attack takes you to Junkrat. Athena's mechanized voice rings over the loudspeakers. Attack commences in 30 seconds. You make your way to one of the side exits, hoping that an early Frank will provide your team with a tactical advantage when you hear a strange noise. That's taking a minute to load. What is the snickering I hear at the door? Is someone setting up a trap? It's a foe. It's a foe setting up a trap, which I hate the word foe. Sounds like toe. He. I guess that does sound like what he's talking about. Just what do you think you're doing? Oi. Yeah. Why, hello there. What fine weather we're having. This tactic standing right in front of our spawn point. I can't imagine it'll work out for you. Oi, giving strategic advice to your opponent before a match? Or quite sporting. I think it's just a statement of fact. So allow me to introduce myself. I am the bombtastic Junkrat. Bombtastic. I was talking to your friend just a moment ago. He told me you were a good boy, like a dog. My dog's a good boy. He's a very good boy. He said that? He said what? Look at his blush. He's so cute. The angle isn't very great, I think. It could be better angle because it looks kind of weird. Oh, nothing. And now she's blushing. Look at that. I talked to him about Lamerica. Just what are you two doing, pulling a stunt like that and then coming to Overwatch? Obviously, they recognize my genius and want a man of my particular expertise. Your expertise in what? Chaos and destruction? I do love a good boom, but I don't just destroy, I create. It's just that some things gotta be broke before they can be fixed. I'm a tinkerer, darl. I build all my gear out of others' junk. The wonderful thing about using junk is that it takes something people think is worthless and turns it into something new. Destruction and reconstruction, huh? Was that? Well, my friend here says it's time for me to take your statement of fact, darl. I didn't catch your name, though. I'm Satya, but feel free to refer to me by my operative name, Symmetra. I'll tell you to give old Hog my warmest wishes, but I'll be delivering warmth directly to the payload. Hee. Oh, and watch your step. Because he put it right outside the door. Despite your previous comments, you were caught in Junkrat's trap almost immediately upon starting the match. Kaboom! You have a hard-fought round, but your team was stopped just short of the final point. As you were placing turrets inside the door for your own round of defense, you've noticed Sombra just inside the door, seemingly preoccupied with a glowing screen in front of her. You seem to get her attention with a quick tap on the glass. Hello. That looks like a chicken, I think. It's a chicken. Ah, ¿qué onda? You are Sombra, no? Your performance in the previous round was exemplary. Ah, Kierda, thank you. I'm sorry, Spanish speakers, I'm bad. You did well, too. I can't say it was very pleasant getting zapped by you while you were all blue and glowing. Blue and gluing. While you were gluing. But, yeah, I think that the way that they talk is kind of off character, but I digress. Between you and me, I think Anna boosted me purely to infuriate Reaper, which I've seen people do that too in the game. Ah, Gabriel, he's such a tryhard. He doesn't have to be a tryhard. But again, call back to the real world and our real world things. Like in the game, you know, tryhards only when you make a group, that kind of thing. And I do think that some of the reflections, I can't tell if the person here read the comics and plays the game or if they just do one or the other. But I think that calling back to Symmetra not necessarily wanting to be violent is a good way to, like, elaborate on her character. She's here because her company told her to come here, not because she necessarily wanted to be here. Now, in this scene, I think you can really tell they're trying to play up the flirtatiousness through body language. Whenever Symmetra is being flirted with, she does the same positioning, like her hand is across her chest, and she looks down, has like a bit of a blush. And I think Sombra has like a naturally flirty attitude in general. It's a little bit more low-key than Farah is later in the game. If I were to rate the levels of overtness of flirtation here, I'd probably say Farah was the worst. I do appreciate the animation here. Like, they added in, like, I guess it's not really animation, but they whooshed her away. and that takes a lot of work, especially for a fan-made game. Like, no one's paying them for this. They're not getting money. None at all. Like, you might be able to, like, give them tips, I think, but, like, they're not getting money for this game. It was just a fun project, like writing fan fiction, and it's made extremely well, which I know I've said it before, but the animation style, it reminds me of older anime. I really love things from like the 90s and beforehand because they have that, they're hand drawn, they're softer, they're not as harshly drawn. Like newer anime it's harsher. The coloring and the line work are a lot thicker, they're a lot brighter, and I think that the way that this game is drawn is very similar to that. Now in this scene, it's a pretty good expositionary scene. You've got Sombra and Junkrat, you can tell what's happening at a glance. You can look and see they're almost at the second checkpoint, and that there are two ults going off at once. If you play the game at all, you know you get it. There's a lot of details here, like in the back. I thought that was Sigma, but Sombra's hacking. You know, I think it's a pretty good scene, even with like Junkrat's low key in the background, and he's still got a good amount of detail on him. Like you can tell clearly who he is. Even stuff like the sign and like I know this rock. Like it's just I appreciate that. I know I've said it a lot, but I really appreciate the detail. The final round was hotly contested, and you almost succeeded in holding at the first choke, pushing the point into overtime until Junkrat and Sombra managed to obliterate half your team, blowing them up with two well-coordinated ultimates. After some intense scrambling, your team was eventually able to regain its composure and run the clock down to victory. I should return to the diner to pick up my belongings. So, you see Farah, Anna, and McCree discussing selfies McCree had sent to Hanzo over the round. This is probably the best one I took. There are some others, but they're, not appropriate for sharing. Haha, I saw you taking those. You think you're being sneaky, Jesse, but you always forget to account for the aerial vantage point. Oh well, in that case, will you take a look? I feel like it came out alright, but I'm not sure about the lighting. Children, behave. A few minutes pass and you finish packing up. You leave the diner, and on the way to your transport slated to bring you back home, Farah approaches you. Hello. Your tactics were formidable. Why, thank you. I found there's a great deal of power in being able to bring your allies back from death so quickly. It's almost as if the heroes in my team never died. Look at the gay panic on her face. Farah looks so panicked. But, I feel that, though. Oh, I did notice. I mean, don't get me wrong, you concealed your transporter well. Just took me a while to find, I just couldn't get the proper aerial superiority in order to stop it. Oh. It's not like that. Our flankers just had difficulty opening space for me because you guarded the hallway so well. Nice save. I am Satya. You are Fariha, right? Your mother and I had the chance to speak. She certainly lives up to her reputation as a legendary soldier, and you to her legacy. I think that's a nice... It's a setup for later conflict between Farah and her mother. I don't think my mother wishes for me to live up to her legacy, but thanks anyway. See it, like, just, it's a small setup. You saw the way her expression changed. She was a bit uncomfortable with it. It brings stuff up later, but, I really like this part. She's like, I have to jet. Leaves because you're really embarrassed. You did the gay. Okay, time to go. I do like the animation there, though, because I'm sure that wasn't easy to do. The day's events have done nothing to assuage your doubts about the Overwatch program, but you can't say they haven't been interesting. As you board your homeward-bound schedule, you cannot help to wonder what the coming weeks will bring. So this game takes place over the course of a couple weeks. And, we've met all three of our dateable options here. I don't want to play through the whole game because I think if you like Overwatch, if you like dating sims, like, you should really just play it. The creators of these games worked really hard on it. Like, you can see the effort they put into it. And I think that no matter what kind of fan you are, you can really enjoy it. One of my favorite things about the game is that there's also a choice for polyamory. Like, you can date all of them at once. You don't have to choose one route. You can
now
decide to go
entering the Temple of Anubis.
Sombra and Junkrat. You have a lot of choices here. And overall, it's a pretty fun game. It's not too long either. I think I played through it in like an hour and a half last time, and that's mostly because I have bad Wi-Fi. But I really think you guys should check it out. Thank you guys for watching, and I'd really appreciate a like, comment, or subscribe.